He cooking the food.
Okay, shut up. Are we live yet? Are we live? And we're live. Good evening. Welcome to the Hands Up Radio Show with your boy Trevone Perry. Tonight we got our brothers. I got my big brothers back with me. I got none other than the James Hall with us tonight. Woo! We got
Keith. I'm here again.
He's here again. Amen. Thank God for him. We got Keith Wonderboy Johnson.
We repping Brooklyn.
You know it. Man,
you better know it.
You better know it. Brooke BK in here. We got none other than Stan Jones. We call him Quincy Jones Jr.
Oh, man.
And my boy Titus Showers is in the building with us tonight. Yeah. Yo, let's get right into it, man. There's been a lot going on since we last spoke. So many things have transpired from the pandemic, numbers going back up again since they are now opening back up things again. The Breonna Taylor case, where we at, Stan? How you feeling, bro?
To be honest, it's so unfortunate, but the reality is, like we were talking offline a minute ago, like unfortunately it's becoming like a numb situation, like
Right.
unfortunately it's like, there's another one, it's another situation where we didn't get the justice that was deserved. And if that is their motive, it's working, unfortunately. So we have to remain focused on what we should, and that is making sure justice is served. So unfortunately, it's just so tragic. All these players, NBA players, doing all they can with their platforms, trying to support what's happening, and we still get told, that all that work that was done, all the Oprah Winfrey, she did put her on the front cover and everything, and all of that stuff, and we still get told, we're gonna do it our way anyway. So just unfortunate and sad.
It's very unfortunate. And for those of you that are tuned in, if you aren't, I don't know if you've been living under a rock, but just if you aren't familiar with the case of Breonna Taylor, young lady that was murdered basically by the police, and what was it, a no-knock warrant, and that gives them permission to basically kick in the door and come into your home, and they came in basically shooting first and asking questions last. So many different conflicting reports. However, they did lie on an official document. That in itself should be enough to put him in jail. But yet here we are getting justice for a bullet hole going through to the neighbor's wall, and everyone else is acquitted. Nobody's getting charged for any murder. How does that make you feel as a Black man in this society where we at right now, James Hall?
Man, this whole 2020 has me feeling crazy. Right. I mean, this is just like Stan said, this is just another case. We have had several cases this year. Besides of being in a pandemic, that's enough. COVID-19, we're dealing with racism at its highest, white supremacy at its highest. I mean, police brutality at its highest. It's like, what in the world is happening? And then it's like no justice. We out here marching, we out here protesting, and what have we gained really after all that? I'm not saying that it's gone in vain. I don't want to say it's gone in vain, but
it feels as if
really have we made any Have we really made any progress? Do we see any? All right, they're giving money for people that died. You can't pay for no life.
Yeah, $12 million, by the way.
Yeah, but she ain't gonna enjoy it.
Correct. And I guess
they ain't gonna enjoy it.
I guess at that point we should have known that nothing was going to happen. At that point, for them giving us that,
most definitely,
it's like hush, like hush money. Let's give this 12 million and nothing else. And that's another thing I want to touch on, Keith, because they said, it is what it is. They're calling the A's and the spade a spade. They're saying that the Black Lives Matter movement, along with the LGBTQ community and a lot of other communities, are standing up more for Black rights than the church is. What do we feel about that, Keith? What do you have to say about that? Is the church speaking enough on systemic racism and the issues that we're dealing with?
It all depends on the subject. Sometimes they're not speaking up, and the church is part of the world. Just like you were saying, I knew right then when I heard them they said they're gonna give her $12 million, and then see what some people, they was like, okay, we got justice. But what they realizing, one, they gonna tax her to death. It's not 12 million tax free.
Correct.
No, it is. Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yeah, it is. I can't wait to get on here. I've been waiting.
Jason, we were waiting for you. Jason, I was about to tell him I don't want to talk about it until Jason get on here.
Yo,
you home. You at home.
I'm at home, and I'm in the trenches, and I'm out here, and I know what's going on. It's tax free, but this is the thing. They were supposed to give them like 80 million.
Wow.
They knew. They made her settle because they knew this was coming out this week.
Yeah. And
this is the foolishness behind it. That coon Daniel Cameron.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those that watching that may not know, break it down. Who's Daniel Cameron?
Daniel Cameron is the Attorney General. See, I sang at the inauguration of the governor and the mayor. Mm-hmm. So I know them all.
I don't see it being no other way. You are Louisville, Kentucky. Hello.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Come on.
But this is the thing. Mm-hmm. They were using. They play the black people. You know what I mean? And they play us against each other. You know what I mean? Daniel Cameron is Mitch McConnell's son. So they already, if you look what I just posted, it was already destined for him to be in Trump already said he's going to name him one of the senates or something like that in the White House.
One of the Supreme Court people.
One of the Supreme Court people. So we saw him at the Republican thing preaching, talking. You already knew he was something up. Look at his skin complexion from when he started to now. You can tell he's been bleaching his skin.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Like James said, it's no way you can't replace a life with money, but then the way they did it, there's no way they're gonna enjoy that 12 million.
There's no way, man. It's disheartening.
And in Louisville, they even, by next week, the sympathy gonna be gone. So they're gonna have to move. Because the people know they got 12 million.
She done already go, mom's done already ghosted.
Yeah, because it's a dude around the way, waiting after a while. Oh, I'm going up in there.
Yo, listen, they got charged for shooting in other.
That's what I was just talking about.
Other people's house. They didn't even get charged for what happened.
Correct.
Right.
The charges have nothing to do with Breonna.
Right.
And we've been marching and out here in the trenches and marching for justice. When at the end of the day, this country does not care about us. This skin color.
And I was saying
and black women.
I was saying that's true. The black woman, I know we talk about the black men a lot, but shout out to the black women as well. I mean, I know this form we do is powerful for the black men because I feel like black women have so much sometimes, but sometimes they are really, truly the most disrespected on our planet, the black women. And I was talking about this earlier with Stan.
Yeah.
I don't think it's by coincidence or happenstance that it's the anniversary, 65 years to this date, the same day that Emmett Till's murderers were acquitted. Why? It's totally crazy.
Bananas, man.
I think we should be more outraged, but my thing, Jason, before you came on, I was asking the question, and Titus, I'm gonna let you jump in here as well. I mean, all of y'all, please feel free. Y'all know how we do already. Just if you got something to say it. Don't wait. You know, you don't have to wait. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, give the little finger and talk. However, with this situation going on, what do we do next? Why isn't the community more outraged, the Black community? Why aren't certain spiritual leaders saying something? They're saying that the LGBTQ community is more involved, the Black Lives Matter, the Muslim, they saying everybody else is more involved than us. What do we have to say about that? Because maybe somebody church is doing something to combat systemic racism, and we just don't know about it because it ain't being publicized. I want to give us that time or that space if your church is doing something that we don't know about. But what do we feel about that, fellas? Where we at with that, Titus?
Man, I feel like a lot of preachers are doing something, and back my way, a lot of the ministers or pastors are elderly guys, and who still just really worried about this COVID situation. But they are talking to the governors and the mayors to implement something in place to support the movement, because everybody is at home and you see what's going on, and we all know it's not right. So I know a lot of ministries have been collaborating this way to speak on the injustices of the world, and definitely been talking to the sheriffs and the chief of the police to deal with whatever situations we have here in the parish that I live in. It's not a very big parish, and believe it or not, we have our issues, but it's not as of the magnitude of the bigger states and bigger cities that, you know, that we see that is happening. But we do get involved in the marches. We do get involved in everything that we need to do. And we send out these younger cats, and we do the street ministries and trying to really promote even to eliminate some of the crimes in the black crimes as well. But definitely, I don't want that to be sidetracked in the midst of the injustices in the world. Because like I told somebody, man, when black on black crime happens, one or two things gonna happen. He's gonna be retaliated against, or he's gonna go to jail. So he's gonna pay the cost for the crime that he's committed. When these cops do these crimes, they just walk free with paid pensions and nothing happened to them. Something needs to change, and needs to change right away.
You know what? I want to say something about that.
Go ahead, Stan.
I've been seeing so much. I've been seeing so many people talk about, well, black on black crime is bad. So what are y'all talking about, so on and so forth?
Right.
But to
they're
me,
trying to change the narrative.
Yeah, they're trying to change the narrative. Like, yes, there's no excuse for that. Like, I hate that part, but we're still talking about the people that we pay to protect us.
Correct.
There's a huge difference in that. Like, let that sink in. Like, we pay these people to protect us, but they're killing us. There's a difference, a huge difference in that. Period.
And a lot of that has been stemmed from us not having the opportunities and the privileges afforded to us. We weren't born into wealth. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people that weren't born into wealth. We were born, absolutely. A lot of us were born into debt. You know what I'm saying? So we being born into something and not having something, you got to do what you got to do to feed your family.
Like
you know what I'm saying?
Say we moving dimes because we ain't doing fine.
Come on. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so for me, it's policy. It's not the police. It's the policies that have been put in place by the hierarchy government that allows the police and the fraternal order of police to move and to do what they do. So the attorney general and the mayor and the governor and all of them, they got to change those policies in order for things to go right, or we're going to continue being in the cycle that we're in every city.
Absolutely.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. It's the policies. You talk about black on black crime, but you put us in the predicament to not give us the opportunity to succeed.
Right.
So you put us in a food desert. In the West End here, where everything popped off, there's one Kroger. There's a Taco Bell, there's a McDonald's. There are no on Broadway going up all the way down to 40th and 40th and Broadway, it's a food desert.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There's nothing. There's a lot of people that don't even know that the other side exists because they've never,
Right.
if you put them in a place and confine them to that place and don't never let them get to see. And I'm gonna go back to this. The reason why a lot of preachers and pastors aren't speaking up is because they trying to keep they black folks in their churches, especially the white ones.
There we
You know,
have.
and let me tell you something, and I'm cool with a lot of them too, but I'm gonna speak up and say what it is. A lot of them are trying to, it's like you want my gift and you want my talent, but you don't want to deal with my issues.
My mama.
So you praise my gift and you'll put me up in front of your church to help lead your worship or help to move your music department to the next level, and you'll buy a B3 and you'll put it in the room. But when it deals with the issues, you never preach about what I'm going through. You don't know because you ain't never been where I've been. And you don't take the time to sit down and talk to me to find out where I've been.
Come on.
So what do we say? How do we is this a simple conversation? How can we get our leaders to do better? The ones that need to do better.
To me, I think you got to sit down and have the real conversations. You got to deal with the elephants in the room, to me. You know what I'm saying? It's the same problem. It's the same problem, you know, that we have in the music industry and the radio industry and everything in gospel music.
Great segue. Great segue into it. So with that being said, I feel now more than ever is the time for us to band together. And I saw Travis Green online the other day, and he was saying how he was loving how all the brotherhood has been coming together, and he sees so many different lives going on, and he's loving it and all of this. What can we do to combat systemic racism? What are some things we can do to stand up for social injustices across the board as a community, as a brotherhood, as gospel artists? What are some things that we need to be doing? Anybody can tackle that question. I don't want to throw anybody out there.
Well, music is a language. I mean, since we're talking about music, it's we all write on here. You know, everybody got the gift of writing, and you could write something that's encouragement. I mean, back in the 60s and the 70s, they always had, Marvin Gaye. They was writing music that spoke to the situations that were happening at hand. That was an encouragement to our people. I mean, we always had that. So that's what it is. I mean,
the songs like "What's Going On."
Right.
You better know it.
And we talked about this before, but getting back onto that for some of the people that may be tuned in that haven't never watched this before, it seemed like gone are those days, of those type of energy songs coming out. Why is that?
A lot of them artists were on the front line with them.
Most definitely. It's totally different.
It's totally different. A lot of them artists, the Aretha Franklins and,
that's
and
right.
all of them, Martin Luther King would call them and say, "Hey, sing to me tonight. I need just so I can go to sleep." You know what I mean? They were a part of the movement.
They was opening up the movements.
Yeah. Man, let me tell you how scared. Let me tell you how scared my city is. They put us on a curfew at 9 o'clock. Everybody.
Wow.
Everybody. They send alerts to everybody's phone in the city because that's how scared they are.
Right.
Because they don't know how to combat.
Right.
They know the wrong.
Absolutely.
I'm,
They always think a settlement is going to be appeasing to the person who lost a life. When, like you guys said, that doesn't replace a life, man. And that's what it's all about. They noticed they started boarding up things before they even came out with the indictment. That's like, come on, bro. So they knew what they was doing, just like they said, bro.
They knew, man. They knew it. They knew what was going to happen, and they were preparing. The National Guard is downtown, man.
Right.
Like, why y'all here? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Like, you got racist Mitch and his son-in-law or whatever down there, and so they knew, they planned it in advance. Absolutely.
And
like how Jason held his phone up. That's what I'm worried about. the next generation, and you know, like that, like it's some children right now that's not even born yet, and this is gonna affect them so much.
Most definitely.
Like I'll be honest with you. I remember one day I was in high school, man, and that was like one of the worst days of my life. I was in high school in the 12th grade, and in school I was getting taught a Black history class, and that's when I found out about the Emmett Till story.
Wow.
And then I had the worst day because I went to school and I was so upset that I had to go home, and my mother let me come home from school. And then my boys we went out to a debut movie, and the movie was sold out and didn't know what I was walking into. And I walked into the movie Rosewood and sat there and watched Rosewood.
He telling his age now. Come on in
Yeah,
there.
man.
Come on in there.
I came out.
I thought you was only 27. Come on in there.
Man, I was so on fire. I thank God that I saw the movie at Kenmore on Church Avenue, because I'd have been going to jail that night. The first
Kenmore, man. Wow. Yeah, I remember that theater.
But it went down. I mean, I came out so mad. I was like, the first person I see is a rat.
Right.
yo, listen. Also, shout out to the homie Darius Paulk, the singer extraordinaire. This dude is a problem.
What's up, everybody?
Darius Paulk.
What up?
What's up, guys? What up, guys? What's up, bro?
What's up,
Paulk?
What's up?
Paulk, this is how we do. You just jump right on in. We're talking about things that we can do to combat systemic racism. What's going on with Breonna Taylor? What are your thoughts and feelings on some of this stuff, man, that we've been experiencing? 2020 has been topsy-turvy. We get that.
Yeah.
But where are you at? How is Darius getting through this difficult time and season?
It's one of those things that I started to post it on my socials today, but I just kind of went a different way. But I'm kind of numb to a lot of, just what's going on. You know,
that's where everybody been.
Stan Jones just said this.
Yeah, it's just kind of I'm just kind of numb to it. Just I was born in the '80s, so I've kind of been around the sun for a few times. So this is just nothing new, and it's just getting so draining to be Black in America almost. So the way that I just get through it, I'm one of those persons that I keep my head down anyway and just kind of do my thing. So I'm just all about my work and my my ministry and all of those things. Just kind of making sure that my family unit is secure and all of that.
All right, now here's the thing. In doing that, I think that's what they want us to do. They want us to become numb so that we don't get out and get on the front line and protest and vote. How important? I don't care that we're taking time out on this tonight to talk about it. All of you people that are viewing it live, it's more than singing. It's more than dancing. It's more than hollering. Sometimes we gotta hit where it hurts, man, and talk about because I believe, I was always taught, if you can get to the root, you can stop the fruit. Where does this stem from? I know we didn't get into racism overnight. I know we ain't coming out of it overnight. I get that. And I know that we may not be the ones to change it, but like Tupac said, I may not be the one to change the world, but I hope that something I say or do sparks the flame in someone who will. We must never get tired. I mean, it is truly exhausting to be Black in America, but we must never get tired of fighting. We all Black men. We got Black sons. I'm scared for them. I'm worried every day. I tell my son, listen, fool, stay in the house. I almost tell him, like, don't go nowhere. Oh, Dad, I'm going to go to such and such. No. Going to such and such going to get you in some trouble. What are some things we really should be focused on in doing? First thing I want to say, vote. I know everybody on here is registered. I know everybody on here is registered. They better be at this point in the game voting. And by the way, America's looking right now. I guess I don't have to tell you who to vote for. I guess, but if I do, Joe Biden. Everybody said, "Well, what has he done for the Black community? What has Donald Trump done?
Right. He ain't Trump.
He ain't
The
Trump.
main
He's not
thing.
promoting racism, man. Trump is promoting
That's the
hatred.
main thing.
He's promoting hatred, man, and everybody on this team. If you agree with him, evangelists and all of you prophetess out there that's agreeing with him, these evangelicals, I don't like you either. So that's the problem, man. He needs to get out of there.
I mean, no,
And I
real
don't
talk.
care. I don't care if I'm not able to see.
I
nowhere in your
respect
presence.
Titus Showers
That's
for
like,
that. I
you got
respect you for
hatred
that.
in you,
Go
bro.
off,
You got
Titus.
hatred. You got
And let me tell you
hatred.
something. You can't call
Come on,
yourself
bro.
a kingdom citizen and you support
Exactly.
that man. There is
Exactly.
no way. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? There's no way for you.
Jason,
you can't
I
say
had
you love God.
I had a heated
Exactly.
argument one time with a pastor. They're here in my city. They're lucky I don't call them out tonight. But we had a heated argument with one of my good friends. But we were having a heated argument because he was trying to get me to look at some of the bright things that Donald Trump has done. And I said, you got to be kidding me.
Somebody did that same thing to me 2 nights ago. I haven't spoken to them since.
What is wrong with people? Like, what is wrong with you?
See, I've been to smack somebody. That's why I
Exactly, bro.
If he wasn't
Yeah,
my homie, Jay.
I was talking to somebody that had, he's a businessman. And he just was like, he's a Republican. He was like, I'm a Republican. I was like, what?
Right. But the crazy part about it, what he doing ain't even reaching him. He said, you ain't got enough. You ain't got enough zeros. You ain't got enough zeros behind you, and you still supporting him. I knew I was out of control.
He told me he got a whole bunch of money
from Trump.
He told me that. Yeah.
Okay, well, I can see why. That I understand. That I can understand. If he giving you some money,
yeah.
I guess.
But that's still like, gaining the world, man. That's still
right. Did you go? And that's what it is. Go. That's what is a money game.
It's all about what happened over there in the book of Matthew, man. When he said, Jesus said unto him, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Okay.
And, that's what you're supposed to do.
I agree with this.
It's not happening, bro.
To Irene in the chat, to all 90 of you that's watching right now, please like and share. Thank you for tuning in so much. If you have questions, you may ask at this time. But Irene, I definitely want to get to your question. Well, I don't even know if this is a question, but I want to say something on this. I don't agree with either one, Biden or Trump. The Scorpion, all we do is vote for the lesser evil. Okay, I guess I get what she's saying. Vote for the lesser evil. Even though you don't agree with the both of them, I guess.
That's that same topic that got us in this predicament now.
Well, Donald Trump wasn't the lesser evil with him and Hillary.
But I'm saying
they just didn't want a woman to run the country.
That got us to where we are now. People were like, vote the lesser evil, and I think that in that everybody is vilified in that, and I think that's what kind of like turned the tide towards Donald Trump in 2016. That kind of rhetoric, like vote the lesser evil. No, I think people need to vote their morals. I think people need to vote, vote for who they feel most comfortable guiding us into the future. And I don't think that person is Donald Trump, fortunately.
At all.
And it may not be Joe Biden, but I'm going to vote for him. But either, because at this point, the orange man got to go. But moving forward, and some things we can do better, and ways we can be better, and staying focused and making sure that we're making an impact socially, justice-wise, ministry-wise, relationship-wise. What are some things we can do to be better artists at this time? Stan Jones, what do you feel as a bona fide artist, some things you should be doing right now to sharpen your tools and make sure you're on top of your game?
To be honest, I think it would be wise to take advantage of this time, because there will be a resurgence of everything. This is a great time to focus and reset, plan out what you wanted to do, because it's coming. I was just telling somebody recently that a lot of people who are waiting for the moment are failing to prepare during the downtime before the moment.
Woo-hoo.
So if we can prepare before the moment comes, when the moment happens, nobody knows when it's going to happen, but just be ready. You will be ready if you take the time to prepare. So that's how I feel about this time right now. Plan out what businesses are you going to do when the doors open everywhere. You know, people start going back out. What are you going to do? Who are you? Let's do this now. Plan, write it out, make it plain, and put it into action. That's how I
Can I say something about just that and going back to this justice thing?
Go ahead,
and what the church can do and this country can do? They need to pay us what they owe us. I
was having this talk with somebody. Go ahead, bro. I was just having this talk. It ain't coming though.
In order for us to be positioned fully in the full totality of what Stan is talking about, the country, they paid everybody else but us.
Everyone else got reparations.
Everybody else got reparations but us. And we built this country. We built this country. And you need to pay us, our families, the ones that went through, you need to pay us all what you owe us so that we can put ourselves in positions for ourselves and our kids and everybody to succeed after us. Pay us our, I don't care if it's $100,000 a piece. It's $100,000 a piece that you didn't have before, that you can set your businesses up and prepare and plan and prepare yourself and put your money up for your kids' college and different instances of things that you want to do with that. You need to pay. And those are the conversations that the white evangelicals and all of them, that we need to sit down and we need to talk about. You know what I mean? It goes beyond just a spiritual aspect of it. Yeah, but we got to deal with the elephants in the room of all the totality of what you owe. This country owes us. And you need to pay us what you owe us so that our communities, we can pour back into our communities and we can pour back into our industry. You know what I'm saying? We can do that. It'll be no problem for me if I got $100,000 to start a tour with everybody that's on here.
That's true.
If you got $100,000, you got $100,000, you got $100,000,
and we put it together. Imagine what we could do.
You see what I'm saying? You know, it's having the capital without having to run back to paying a label back. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm just.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Once again, thank you for tuning in, like and share and invite. Also, Tammy, we don't need them. I like that response. This is the conversation I had with one of my friends just the other day, and we was talking about reparations and how everyone else got their due except us. We never got our 40 acres and a mule. Yeah. I think if we're waiting on it, we're gonna be waiting. Okay, it's obviously they don't plan on giving it to us. So if what you won't give us at some point, you know, it's but for so long we gonna knock nicely. Now we got to take what's ours. How do you take what is yours? You go out there and you do your due diligence. You go out there, you grind, you work hard. One of the things I say, we can learn about some racist man and celebrate certain holidays that we shouldn't even be celebrating, but yet in the school systems, they won't teach us the benefits and of becoming entrepreneurs. We don't have any entrepreneur classes in our schools. Those are some of the ways we can, accumulate wealth, because knowing better, we would be able to do better, right? But if we don't know better, we can't do better. Moving forward, each one must teach one. Once you find some knowledge, you must walk therein. Knowledge is power, but that in itself is not going to do it. If you want to be successful in any field, you got to learn to connect with people that specialize therein. How important is that for you, Titus, to learn how to connect with people that specialize in the field that you want to be successful in so that you can get the most out of it?
Definitely, it's important. I'm thankful. I think I shared on the last meeting that I had with you that my family and I own our own businesses, man. We have our healthcare businesses. We have a mental health agency, daycares, Boys and Girls Club, Driving Academy, real estate. You know, the
I
Lord has
love it.
blessed us, you know, to be entrepreneurs, and so we
Multiple
don't depend.
streams.
We don't depend on nobody else to feed us. The Lord has blessed us to work for each other, and it's very important to have that family aspect and to love one another, and don't be feuding over something that is small. A lot of us butt heads over money, man, and you know, and it can become an issue for you, you know. Yeah, and I failed to get, you know, the independent label, the radio station that we also have. You know, God has just blessed us to be independent in that way, and not to depend on anybody else. Even in the midst of COVID, I had to make sure my workers was doing well. So it's very important, man. Music does what it does, but also, you know, to have that extra stream of income coming in where you don't have to worry about, are you getting the spins on the radio for your record, you know. You know, but you know, God is still blessing you in spite of.
Well, that in itself is another type of hustle. Getting spins on the radio, unless you have already arrived. But even to arrive, you have had to, at some point, had someone who believed in you or backed you and pushed you to help you get there. How important is it assembling the right kind of team, Mr. Stan?
It's super important. Before you get a team, though, you got to have a song.
My.
Yeah.
You better preach to somebody.
Preach, Doc. Preach.
And you can't just have a song, you got to have a good song.
Yeah. A good one. A good one, make you move your feet. Come on in there.
Do something. And when you have that song, you know, I've heard people say, which is true, you know, before you get a team, they be like, what are we here for? What are we going to do? What are we working? You want to get management and all these other type of things, but what are we going to manage? There's nothing there. There's no need to do all that. So creative content, there's so much now you can do on your own to where it would actually draw the ordained team to you based on what you're already doing. So
that's good talk, Stan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. That's crazy. Segued right into it. Doing the work first. That's the next segment. Doing the work first. If you catch on fire, somebody will come and watch you burn, my pastor would always say. And he said that his pastor would say that to them. And I took that and used that and flipped that in so many different ways. If you're doing something, somebody's going to pay attention to you. James Hall, how important is it to make sure that you're finding your hands busy?
Let me tell you something. If you ain't busy, you ain't doing nothing. You're just sitting around. What's the sense? You know, you got to, if you want to get something happening, you have to be working towards it. And a lot of times people think because you're quiet, you ain't working. But sometimes you got to be heating up. You got to put that stuff and let it simmer. And when you bring it out, it be just fire. Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of stuff on social media for the people, and I do it because I'm a witness. I do it, but you ain't seeing what I'm doing. You know, I'm giving y'all IG show. No, I'm not putting all my stuff out there that I'm doing, but trust me, I'm working on something. You know, and like Stan said, you know, having it. I remember. Stan, anyway, I'm talking about the other stuff you're saying, Stan. You know, having a team, you know, I remember back in the day, we built a team. You know, somebody was doing this part, somebody was doing that part, and, you know, and I was the artist, you know, but now that I'm an artist and the label and I'm handling all the business, I'll do whatever I have to do to make it happen. I ain't gonna say I don't need no help, but if I ain't getting no help, I'm helping myself.
It's gonna be done regardless. Come on,
you better know it.
I know we all heard of the saying: if you want to go fast, you can go by yourself, but if you want to go far, you're gonna need some help. Yeah, I mean, none of us on this platform are gotten any kind of success in our life, I think, on our own. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
We all have had somebody to pour into us or impart into us or believe in us at some point to say, here, Amen. And we thank God. We thank God for it. I think. I'm gonna tell you what I think later on. But Keith Wonderboy Johnson. I'm gonna tell you, but I want Keith to touch on that a little bit because I think here's a guy right here that knows the importance of hustle and bustle. You know, this dude grinds. I think I got my grind from you, Keith. I think that's where I got it from. Tell them how important it is to be a grinder in this season.
Well, you know, you gotta roll your sleeves up and you know, and get to it. And like you said, you gotta realize that a team is so you gotta have that them people on your team. Now, granted, you don't have to have 100. Sometimes you can get more done with a powerful 5 than you can do with 100 just looking at you.
The right 5.
But that's right. And so, you know, all that relations, all that comes in. You don't have to have everybody. You just got to have the right people. And so be it. So, you know, right now, it's just those sayings is really coming forth. Just like Stan was saying, man, I learn every time. I just being around you guys, I can always pick up something. You know, I always been that type of person. I look at people who I can learn from, and then I look at people who I learn what not to do by looking at them.
Yes, sir.
That's a whole blessing right there.
Right.
That's a whole blessing right there. Darius, man, explain to the folks the importance of not walking into every door. That some doors are a curse, and if you go into it, you'll wish you had it. How important for those? This is for those that feel they'll do anything to get on. They'll almost do anything or anyone to get on. What do you got to say to those people, Darius?
Oh,
well,
I can't say what.
One of those things you said was a little light.
I
mean anything. They'll do anything. They'll shortchange themselves, devalue themselves.
There are people like that just are just so hungry and thirsty for it that they'll just kind of do anything. And I think that those people really at the base of it, they just really don't trust their own greatness. So they'll just do anything and trample over anybody, you know, to get what they feel like they're owed. But I've always been a hard worker, and I want what I work for. So I don't really understand the notion, but, you know, I do know that there are some people that'll do anything and trample over anybody to get on. And, you know, those people, you know, they need to
those
marked,
are the real Illuminatis.
Yeah,
but you know what?
You mark those type of people, and you just kind of, you know, you don't hate them because you want to make it in, but you just mark those kind of people like those are the kind of people that I learn what not to do from, like Keith said.
You know, a lot of people want the platform. You know what I'm saying? They enjoy seeing the stage and putting the shiny suit on.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? And you know, the patent leathers, they don't know that when, you know, it costs a process to get to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I mean? You see James and Keith, but you don't see the process that they went to get to where they are. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's a process through this. And then also too, I think going back to the team situation, you got to know your strengths of your team and your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, LeBron, you know what I mean? LeBron ain't putting everybody in. They changing their squad up every time they hit the floor. They got beat the other night. They almost came back and won.
Yes, they did.
Because they changed the defense up. So you got to know, you got to have the proper people in place, you know what I mean, to make the proper decisions to say. And then if you the leader, if you the LeBron, you gotta pull your team together and say, look, you the point guard. You're not supposed to be down in the post trying to guard Joker. You know what I mean? Why you in the post and he's 7 foot and you 5'8". You know what I mean? Why you down there in the post and you supposed to be out on the line? Or you like one thing Rajon Rondo said the last couple of games is They asked him, how does he feel about being on the team? And he's been on other championship teams. And one thing that stuck out to me that he said was, LeBron allowed me and afforded me he didn't say the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He said LeBron allowed me and afforded me the opportunity.
Because he know who brought him there.
He knew to play my part. And regardless, if you watch that last play of the second game, when LeBron was supposed to get the ball, but AD was hit.
Rondo.
And Rondo threw the ball in to AD, and AD shot that shot and hit. It's about knowing your role.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? It's about knowing where you are in your role. This industry and this process, it's a process and a fight to fight through the different gates to get to where you're going.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's the
gates
truth.
Again. There go those
gates.
gates.
I'm just being 100. I met with my label yesterday and the other night, and I got on the phone with my lawyer and was like, yo, let's get the CEO on the phone and let's talk. Because at the end of the day, I got to put off the artist hat and put on my Diddy hat. Mm-hmm. and put on that hat and come in and say, wait a minute. We need to fix something. We need to change something. Because if this ain't working, why didn't you come and tell me so that I can fix it and make something happen before you start forking out all this bread? You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to know what's going on. If you out here just limly bimly and running around, you don't know what's going on, you're going to look up and you're going to be 70 grand in the hole. And you're going to be like, well, wait a minute. What happened? You got to know the business. You got to know what's going on.
I'm glad you touched on that because I was getting ready to let you answer this question. Shout out to those in the chat. And Kevin Hayden, if you want to know how this applies to music, you must have just tuned in because we're talking about music. However, to John Taylor, to your question, brother, he said some deals would take all of your publishing. And that's what Jason was just talking about. Knowing the business. We spoke about this before. This is why
I'm looking at Darius. Listen, let me tell you something.
We spoke about this before, you know, and this is why I bring it up again because there's always new people tuning in, and you may be your first time hearing us talk for the first time. But how important is it to know your business and to make sure you have the proper people looking over your paperwork when you're signing business transactions as far as signing with a label?
Listen, you can't be caught up off the hype of somebody doing your material.
No,
that's not what it's about. It's about making sure, and then you got to know, you got to read too. They always said if you want Black people not to know something, put it in a book. You know what I'm saying? We got to read and we got to study up on everything so that you'll know, you know, how when it says your gift will make room for you. You know what I mean? I think you got to really go into sharpening your gift on all facets so you'll know, you know, you got to look at the fine print and you got to make sure that the jargon in the contract is saying the same thing from it saying record and it's saying album. You know what I mean? You got to make sure, and then you got to have, once again, a team in place, somebody that knows about that stuff so you're not just signing something because you want somebody to do your song.
Kevin Hayden again said, what is the specific problem that you run into with the label? Stan, you want to take that one?
That depends on.
Man, what you doing, bro?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm going to ask a label exec, or James Hall is a label exec. Y'all can answer these questions.
I don't think me and James should speak to that. All
right. So y'all don't want to speak to. Y'all don't want to speak to.
I think. Well, Darius might want to take that one.
I don't.
I thought Wonderboy was trying to say something. Were you trying to say something?
Go ahead, keep go ahead.
Everybody, my dad always taught me stay in your lane, and everybody lane is different. So it depends on the person. What's one person problem ain't another person problem. So I can tell you, you know, hey, it's in the past now. So I know what it is to be in a big old lake, to be in a big old pond, and you not the big fish in the pond.
Come on
when
here.
When I was at Verity, what was Donnie McClurkin's problem wasn't my problem.
Come on.
So, and you know, I'll be honest, I tell my vendors when I got on, I was like, listen, I know my lane. Y'all need a ghetto superstar. And that would be me. So all those days that he don't want to go, I'll go. I will go. And the next week they had me in Nebraska. I ain't never feel that cold before. But I went, and the Lord bless, I got a bag.
Come on.
Right.
So it all depends, you know.
Okay.
And I would tell you, I used to be like that. You know, you'll see something good. Like Jason said, you'll see a good point. Or it can be in a movie, or it can be somebody, you know, giving a speech or something. And I'll be honest with you. I hate to do this, but my children's mother used to drive me crazy with this. So I see something, I'd be like, that's a good point. Yeah. And then she'll wait till I finish and say, but that don't apply to you. So that's what you got to be realistic to. You looking at somebody else's dream, that might not be your dream.
Okay. Well, that you got a point there, and someone else is speaking right now. We ain't never scared. In fact, we do this forum to talk and to help other people. But someone is saying, see, you guys can't even speak about labels. Labels are a form of slavery. Y'all can't even speak candid about it. This is why Kanye is currently having a fit.
Okay. All right. I guess they're talking about me and James, so let me go ahead.
But who is saying that? Who is saying that?
I'm gonna let you know right now. Kevin Hayden is his name.
I don't know, but like, my main thing is, first, why are you so concerned about a situation again that don't apply to you? So again, ain't nobody scared to talk about no labels. But hello, you got people on here that been in the business. They got common sense.
You better know it. That's right. That's right.
Because I mean, if I could get on the story,
you better know it. I got some amazing stories about labels.
Okay, let me say this. Labels are not by any means a form of slavery. Labels have afforded some of the greatest talented broke people in this world to get their gifts to the masses. That's what labels do. Labels are like banks. They give the finances to the people who don't have them, and labels are the bullhorns for that talent. Now, when you get on your feet to where you can do something yourself, then hey, but a lot of that comes on the backs of record labels. So you can't bash record labels at all. Period.
So, and let me say this, because a lot of people don't know, I'm on my own label though. So I'm signed to Titus, but it's on J Clay Music. So I'm a joint venture situation. So my deal is I still have to do my part. But the good thing about me is that's why I'm glad I came in like I came in as a writer, going to being, you know, I've been an artist, but going into being, you know, working the business, because I knew how to work the deal. You know what I mean? I think you need to understand it ain't just about the deal. There's a lot of people out here that are paying buku money, you know, to get on these charts and stuff, and jump these charts, and they streams ain't even up. You know, so you know, you and then you looking at how many people that how many people, you know, they got following on Instagram. They don't add up to the streams and the stuff that is going on. So my thing is, business wise, you got to make sure that you know your business, so that, you know, if they do have 200,000 followers and only have 15,000 streams, you know what I mean? It something is weird there. You know what I mean? Rather than the person that would have 20,000 followers and has 15,000 streams, that's organic. You know what I mean? So like you know, I don't, ain't nobody scared to talk about where they are. You know, nobody's scared about that. It's just about like Stan said, there were a lot of people that came into this was broke. Especially black people.
Yes,
What I'm
sir.
saying? Facts. We wasn't born in the money, so we couldn't start off putting our records out like the Gaithers and all of them. And then a lot of them, they families ran their label who already had money to do it.
Facts.
So, a lot of us, at the front, I know artists that a lot of songs you heard on the radio that blew up, they didn't even own their publishing on them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, you can't fault the guys, and the ones that figured it out. So to that person,
without teaching.
Without teaching, you know what I mean? So with that person that, like Keith,
they learned by the hard knocks.
Come on. So I learned from the Jameses and from the Bishop Hezes, and I learned from the Ricky Dillards and the Donald Lawrences. You know what I'm saying? I learned from them. It wasn't just about knowing them. See, everybody gets hyped up about throwing the name out.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not about throwing the name out. It's about saying, yo, Jay, look, when this song come out, make sure before the Harry Fox agency calls you that you go ahead and you copyright the song. So what is the copyright? Well, the copyrights will go on and make sure that the song is in your name so that they can take all your money. So that when the label comes to you, you already own the copyrights of the song.
Right. This is important information to know. And once again, back to what you guys were saying about stars. Everybody can't be the star as in the main star, but you can be a star in your role. Yep. And know your role is more important than anything. I think that was one of the problems of, since we were talking about basketball analogy with you, bro, with the Clippers this year. You had people that didn't know their role, and that's why they sitting home now. It's important to know your role, and that way you're not trying to take or fit someone else's shoes. Once again,
also, Trey,
go ahead, bro.
It go into sometimes when you know what's the final result and the final place where you want to be, sometimes everybody route to that place is different.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Everybody ain't gonna get there the same way. I've been I can tell my testimony. I've been at private shows and stuff in New York. Come on, we from New York. I've been in there in a room in Manhattan where I know I was the brokest dude in there. I'm talking about Puffy in there, Tommy Mottola, all these dudes. And I specifically, the stuff I was learning, I knew, man. I came there on a Honda. I didn't want to park my car across the street because across the street in the parking lot, when you pull up, everybody see what you riding.
That's right.
So I'm like, nah, I'm park my joint down the block.
Well, someone wants to know this: what is a label doing for you that you can't do for yourself?
A lot.
A whole lot.
I'm gonna tell you this. Now you talking for somebody that been there. What a label do when you trying to get out there, especially when you one of those smart, talented, upcoming artists that think they there already. What a label do for you is you're trying to get put in that tree, and you can't get in the tree because you don't have the money, you don't have the music, you don't have
the capital, the resources, the relationships.
But that label can put you in that tree where everybody can see you and everybody know you. Then when like Jason said, the business and you know what to do, then what they do, they teach you how to fish. And then you can get your own food then instead of feeding, you get your own food.
All right, so let's tie this up because y'all trying to come with. Listen, this is what we do. This is what we do. We don't mind this. We love this. We want to.
I'm having an issue. I have to go. I'm sorry. I know you. I hate to do this, but something happened with my studio, and I gotta take care of it because I have.
Yikes!
I gotta
go
handle
ahead.
this.
Go do your thing.
All right.
Do your thing.
Love you, man.
Love you, boy.
Later, fellas.
All right.
Love you, bro.
But to sum it up in a nutshell, labels, if you don't have capital, if you're not coming in with $1 million, if you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to support yourself, to finance yourself for your vision, if you have capital, you can, in some relationships, and you can make some things happen. But if you don't have neither or, you're going to need somebody to help walk you through the doors. At a certain point, when you get to where you need to go, then you can branch off and make some amazing things happen on your own, because you have already built some capital, you have built relationships, you have built good standing with people. Then you can do what the label could do for you. Not until then. You got to crawl before you walk. Okay, so it is important. Labels have their place. Every label ain't stiffing their artists. You know, at the same time, labels are a business. Yeah. Okay,
they're not thinking about hallelujah. They're not thinking about how
they are a business. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And to come to think about it, if you're not an asset, you're going to become a liability. So that's why people get sour, because, you know, and this happens with not just gospel artists, this happens with mainstream artists. You know, when you're not selling what you used to sell and things like that, there's a thing called they drop you. And or they shelf you at some point if things take precedence over what you may have going on. So those are just some key things. But nevertheless, you don't let that discourage you. You keep going and you keep working, because we have history to prove that you can make it if you stay diligent and you have some real talent behind you. Somebody's going, like I said earlier, if you catch on fire, somebody's going to come and watch you burn. Also, I want to tackle this question real quick. Any of you guys can answer it. Is working with family members a help or a hindrance to you in the industry?
That's for Jason.
Titus, you said that's for Jason.
Or Titus.
Man, Jason, that's for Jason.
Well, unless you do like what I do, I say you got to know the difference between family and kinfolk. Is a difference.
Right.
Go ahead, Titus. I'll let you go first, bro.
Bro, it works for me, man. My family has been very supportive, and God put us out there, man. And we never had the labels behind us. We were always independent. Thank God for my big sister, who's the president of the label. She researched the business. She even hollered at Stan. I think they got speed dial with each other. You know, about business mindset of things, of what to do and what not to do. And we had some collateral. You know, God blessed her with some, you know, to be able to fund some things. And man, we didn't have the hiccup. Before we got the team, we got a song that the people wanted to hear. And then the team was formed, and no beef, man. I miss my family when I travel on the road by myself now. So there was no beef. But man, it wasn't a liability at all.
I think for me, it's been a joy, and we started young, you know what I mean? So when I started with my brothers and sisters, I started, you know, they were 13, 14, you know, and I you know, started my group, the ensemble. We were trying to figure out, and then my wife now, you know, all of her sisters, they all sang with me too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They're all Dunn's, Jonathan Dunn's nieces. You know what I mean? So, you know, I you know, it's been families all around us. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's both, and you know what I mean? I think it's been some joys, and then there's been where the families have, you know, clashed a little bit. And then at one point I had to be willing, you know, to say to my brothers and sisters, because they had been singing with me for so long, you know, they wanted to figure out what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that was one of the hardest things for me, was to say, you know, no, y'all gonna keep singing with me? What y'all talking about? I'm the oldest. I'm big bruh. You know, and then they, you know, all of them is like, well, what if we don't want to do gospel? You know, right. You know, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, my situation was a little bit different. And then, you know, you got to let them bump their head and grow up. You know what I mean? You do. And allow them to find this life out of and the path that God wants them to go on. Mm-hmm. You know, in my last song that I dropped, I was able to come back and do it with my sister, who is an amazing monster singer, who I feel like she can stand on stage with anybody and sing. And so like, you know, but I feel like even with the things that God is doing with me in this season with my family, it's going, you know, as the elevation comes, I'm gonna be able to go back and pull them and say, hey, look, you know, so, you know, they are still in their early, you know, late 20s, early to late 20s. So they still young, you know what I'm saying? You know, and so, you know, I want to give them an opportunity to learn and to grow, you know, in their life. So that's what it is with my family, you know, and I still rock with some of them, and some of them still come and sing with me, and then they moving into other things. My baby sister, she was the creative director for my last music video. So, you know, I want to let them figure out what they want to do. They don't just have to sing. So
run it down, Jason.
no, I'm just saying, I mean, he do that to me every time, bro.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I love Jason.
Listen, I love family. I love family. I work with my baby brother is my musical director, and we get along fine, you know, because he knows his role and he doesn't try to play I'm little brother, you big brother, you know, type thing, and you wouldn't even know we were family. People are actually surprised when they find that out. Awesome, talented dude. Shout out to Howard Maurice Perry, who was just on here. You know, you got to know who you can work with and who you can't work with. That's all, you know.
That's true. That's
all.
Now, crazy thing, my brother, he's a street cat. He love the street.
You need those guys, man. You need those guys.
And he used to be my MD. You know what I'm saying? But at the point, he was like, I was like, man, look, bro. You know, I love him dearly. He came up to the studio the other night and was like, here, bro, here's some bread. I'm like, man, where you putting out all that money out of your pocket, bro? Where you get that? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But, you know, so it's just like, you know, I love my brothers and sisters, man, and they talented and I love them, man. And I just feel like, you know, it's just seasons of where we are in life, you know.
Yes, and shout out to my big sister who's on here. I see you, sister Nita Wells, singer extraordinaire. Nita Wells.
Erasmus Hall finest.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to her.
What up?
Are we back to this again? One question, but I'm going to answer it. I have a question. How do you get connects to a record label if you only have fans on apps and not local? Also, is it harder being on a label than an independent? Let me rephrase that. I guess they want to know how do you get connects to be on a label?
It's different.
I think it's really just kind of doing the work, and just like what everybody's been saying, pretty much just kind of making sure you do the work and you do whatever you do in excellence. You know, just case in point with my situation, I wasn't even really looking for any kind of label situation, but I put a song out, you know, I made sure that it was mixed well and mastered well and, you know, all that stuff. So, you know, it kind of caught the attention of the labels, and just one of those labels happened to be my label, Malico Air. So, you know, I just think, you know, in order to kind of be noticed, you got to be exceptional. You got to do the work, you know, and just kind of, you know, just be found working.
Every time I get in the car, that boy on the radio. So
every time.
Right.
Every time.
What I said earlier.
Shout out to my label.
every route is different. So there is no route. Because you got some, you know, you watch too much. It's the TV. Those are old movies and TV shows where they did a talent show, and some, you know, they did a great performance on the talent show and somebody heard them. Oh, we want to sign you or whatever. Now, for the majority, those days are over. You know what I'm saying? Or then you got some artists, that's what they did. That's the masterpiece story. They created a buzz on themselves and made themselves a superstar. And
they came in with money.
Yes, or they created such a big demand where they first, you know what I'm saying? Or you can have, I'm gonna tell you, that's why I love them. And dudes like Jason, what they call this dude now? Because he didn't change his name so many times. Major.
Yeah, Major.
Yes.
Major.
People like them, one thing I respect about them, when they got to know, they turned around, hit reverse, went back, and tried another door. They came, here they come again. Here they come again. And then guess what? One day you gonna knock and they're gonna open that door.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real.
Trust me. Like I tell my story when I started and I said, you know what? I want to do this thing for real. Now, for a while, I sat there in New York. I watched. I watched the journey of his. I watched the journey of James. Definitely watched Pastor Tim. You know, everybody in our era who was professional. But guess what? My route wasn't the same. I went to every label. When I tell you every label rejected me, every label.
Wow.
But
and
guess what?
And look at the success you are today.
But
Many
the
Stellar
Lord
Awards later.
But I worked with the trade. The other part of that story is those same labels that I worked with. I mean, I got rejected by. I wound up working with them.
See,
I remember being at the Canton Spirituals recording live in DC. I went down there. I went up to Tara and asked her, what do artists need to do to be on Verity? And she told me, she said, well, son, let me let you know, Verity don't sign new artists unless they under somebody. But what we specialize in is taking an artist from level B and making them a level A artist. So I know what I told her. I didn't feel bad. I was like, all right, I'll be back. I'll see you in a couple of years.
Yeah. Listen, shout out to Stephen Hurd, man, who's on. Appreciate you, family. He just said, you know, he's tuned in.
Steve, what up, bro?
Shout out to my big brother who's on the road right now, which is why he's not on with us. Y'all know Charlie don't miss none of these. Charlie's on. Shout out to the soul superhero Charles Perry. We miss you, bro, tonight.
Charles Perry? We love you, man.
We miss you tonight. But what you said was powerful. Was powerful, bro. Because I believe we heard those stories from Master P, and when you listen to that's why I love to hear Dame Dash talk. I know he's created so many enemies down through the years with his mouth, but Dame Dash talks some real stuff. They came to this industry with what they had. If I don't suggest you do what they did, they came in with their own money. They hustled and bustled, and they came in with their own piece of change. If you willing, you want to do that, and you want to risk going to jail, go ahead. They were lucky, they were fortunate. However, they took a risk on themselves. You know what I'm saying? If you believe in yourself, you will invest in yourself. You know what I'm saying? No investment in yourself is a bad investment. It takes money. I know you heard of the saying, it takes money to make money, right? But it takes sure grind to be successful. This is not an overnight thing.
Not a microwave.
My homie and me was rolling on the floor earlier because this a lady took one of her a publicist to court because she had been paying him $1,000 monthly for several months to do her PR and get her places, but she just didn't have the talent. So he was doing the work, but nobody wanted to work with her. You know what I'm saying? And she's taking him to court because she's saying, her perception of him, because he did this for others and yada yada yada, that he was going to make her an overnight success. And he had to say, sweetheart, I'm sorry, it don't work like that. So he was rolling. And I said, isn't that funny that we think just because we have this much talent that we should be where the next person is at? And how important is it not to lose focus of your journey worrying about somebody else's standard?
Right. But Trey, before I forget, I'm old now. That's when that's where it say you got to know who you are and what applies to you. So let's use that. Let's use that example right there. That story that case you just said. Now she's suing the publicist because she paid the publicist $1,000 a month,
and she not where she thinks she should be.
Right.
Correct.
She should have been, instead of hiring a publicist, maybe she should have been hiring a vocal coach. Or she should have hired Jason to write her a good song.
Correct.
Yeah, man.
You can't, just like I heard, then like I said, my little brother Stan there, It don't matter if you get somebody like Stan Quincy Jones Jr. to master and mix your song. If it's still a mess, it's still mess.
My.
Come on, you talking, Doc.
Yeah,
So,
I get you.
You got to know what applies to you.
And once again, that's what we're trying to say. Looking at someone else's backyard is going to always get you in trouble. Perception is something. You look at some of these guys and some of these all of us on here. You may look and see what these gentlemen is doing. These Stan Joneses and Jason Clayborns and Titus Showers, how he just performed for the Stellars, and Darius Paulk doing his thing. And Keith Wonderboy Johnson is at every doggone parking lot concert there is in the city. And you may be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I got talent too, just like those cats. Why isn't it happening for me? But here you hear tonight, you hear these stories, and they being modest. They're not, maybe Keith told you all his stories, how everybody told him no. But believe it or not, everybody on this line had a no moment before.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you.
Listen,
let
me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. It's funny because I mean, in this last year, I've developed even more of humble pie and I've eaten it multiple times because people don't care. This industry does not care about what you wrote or who you wrote for, especially these program directors and stuff. They want to hear what you got and what you produce as an artist. And then you got to remember, you battling through a 30+ year veteran industry where we not the same as hip hop and R&B, where you can hear Drake right now has.
I'm gonna let you continue, but Steve Hurd just is agreeing with you, Jason. He said people don't want to do the work.
Yeah, you don't want to do the work. This industry that we're in is not the same as a hip hop industry where Drake has the top 3 hip hop songs in himself, with 1 himself and 2 with DJ Khaled.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We it's different in gospel music. We can't drop. I wanted to come in and drop 2 or 3 songs to radio. Them PDs, the PDs ain't gospel PDs no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? These PDs that are running, these program directors that are running these stations, they not the A&Rs like a Ebony Funderburk who used to be on the radio as a PD. You know what I'm saying? You could tell them, oh man, Jay wrote better for Heads. They gonna be like, so?
Where he got though?
Right. Where he at though? That's true. But you talking real, bro. You talking real, bro.
I'm telling you what I'm going through, Doc.
You talking real, bro.
This is the truth. This is the truth. If you want to know the truth, this is what's up. It is a battle. It is a battle to up this hill.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead. I want to say something right.
Go ahead, Stan.
Based on what you were saying earlier, Trevone, about the fact that, if you look over the fence and you see the grass is green on that side, like
it appears to be perception. Correct.
Appears to be people being distracted by that. But I think you have to get a great sense of yourself and see what you can handle. For instance, when horses race on a track, they have to wear these blinders so they can't see who's running beside them because they will get distracted. But those same situations, you can see somebody and be actually influenced by what they're doing and become a greater version of yourself because of what they are doing. So it's really due to who you are and what you can handle. That's what I believe. So you have to check yourself.
You got to know who you are and what apply to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And shout out to Stephen Hurd. Shout out to Stephen Hurd, who also just said, he said, they believe that they are the missing link that will change the game. What do we say to those people, Darius?
Oh, listen, hey, let me tell you something. Stephen Hurd's a millionaire, so you better listen to him.
Stephen Hurd is a millionaire.
he might not want y'all telling all of that.
You better listen to him.
But what do you got to say to that, Darius Paulk, that people feel that they the missing link and then this is what the industry is missing. They missing me. I think it's great to feel that way. But what do you got to say about that?
It's a confidence thing. You know, they just have that confidence, but you know, the fact of it is, you know, everybody has something unique that they can offer to the world. And just kind of to piggyback on what Stan was saying, just knowing who you are and being true to yourself and just kind of building upon who you are and making what comes just natural to you, making that excellent. I think that is a link that the industry may need, you know, but I think everybody has something very special that they can offer. You know, everybody's the link.
and to you telling people Stephen HURS business, he said he wants y'all to stop lying. That's what he just said. He said stop lying.
We ain't telling no lie.
Okay, he was smart to say that. But moving from here to pillar to post.
Wait.
Go ahead, keep going.
That irritates me so bad when they said they get ready to change the game. Ooh. Now you gotta remember. Now this ain't just music. This is with anything. Every once in a blue moon, the Lord make an individual that literally changes the game. So what you need to do, but what was wrong with the game that you're trying to get in before you got there? So what makes you think that you're so special? So sometimes you need to just learn how to try to learn the game
and
before you change the game.
That's true. I love that. Stephen HURS has a question real quick, and then you could jump right into that. But any one of you can answer this. What's my assignment, and who am I assigned to?
Listen, let me tell you something. I can answer that question because I've heard him talk about that.
Right. Give a very Stephen HURS answer.
Yes. So if you gotta know that if God puts you or allows 300 people to follow you, are you going to be comfortable with that? And are you going to take that as a gem and as a jewel until the 300,000 come?
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? Are you going to be, if he
faithful over the few?
Are you going to be faithful over those that are, you know, that God has allowed you to influence and your ministry to influence until the elevation process happens? And what is that timing? Because we don't know. We don't know. We don't know that timing. That 300 could be for 15 years until the 300,000 come. You don't know. Are you going to focus on being the best minstrel and leader and creative that you can be in that moment over the covering of over the people that God has allowed you to be able to minister to until the elevation comes?
What you just said about the 300 to the 3,000 come, what came to my mind just now is that he already said, he was really giving you the blueprint when he said, if 2 or 3 are gathered, just 2 or 3, 1, 2, 3.
That's your assignment right there.
Gathered.
That's you.
He will be in the midst. If he's in the midst in those 2 or 3, then one of those 3 could be the very one that could take you to 3 million. See, I'm
Look at you, Stan. Look at you. You have to shout yourself, brother.
That's the blueprint right there. 2 or 3. 1, 2, 3. So don't if 1 is there, if 2 is there, if 3 is there, you do your best, because God can be the one to carry you from that 3 to the bridge of the
correct.
And let me alley-oop on that, because this is a testimony and something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I was writing with a writer, and he said to me, Jason, I was gonna check my account that morning to just handle some bills and deal with my wife. He said, and this goes back to, like Stan said, you know, you never know who's paying attention to you or who's watching your ministry. And it don't have to be in the US, and it don't have to be, you know, it ain't the same people that might not be following somebody else. You know,
That's true,
you gotta,
bro.
you know what I mean? So he told me, he said, he said, I got a call from my manager, and he said that a guy in London who owned a construction company said he found my music and found my ministry tapes. He said, and the Lord told him to sow his first fruits of his business into his ministry, and he owned a construction company in London. So by that time, the next day, when I was sitting there, I mean, the chills that came over my body, because I was just like, wow, it just confirms that, you just stay diligent to who God allows you to minister to, because that dude wrote him $147,000 check.
Wow.
One person who found his old tapes, who found his old songs, and who found his old preaching tapes. And he don't even have a church. That's what I'm saying. You never know how God is going to do what he's going to do. And like Keith said, enjoy what the plan and the will that he has for your life.
Listen, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. There's always a process before promise. We want to skip the process and go straight to the glory. But there's something that happens in the midst of that. You know what I'm saying? If I never went through any hard times, I can't appreciate no good. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the process. Take the ride and enjoy the process, because I'm telling you, when you sit back and you look at it at the end of the day, you can be much more proud and say, look at how far I've come. And once again, don't use anybody's success as a measuring stick for your own. Once again, perception is a killer. You don't have no idea what so-and-so and sister so-and-so and brother so-and-so is going through just to be who they are on a daily basis. You get what I'm saying? Tell somebody all the time, you want my success, take my bills. You want anything that you think I've achieved, take every responsibility that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? Real bosses at the end of the day, they're signing checks more so than cashing them, okay? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it takes. We want the seat, but we don't want to do the things that it takes to sit in the seat. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, moving past that, we almost wrapping it up. But this talk, I mean, every time I talk with my brothers, man, I'm uplifted, and I'm ready to go out there and like make 10 million more things happen. Shout out to Darius, Paulk, man, one of the newcomers on tonight. We do this once a month, the Strength Talk. So, Stan.
Yeah. Darius is my brother.
Yeah, man.
Very proud of him.
I have a great deal of respect for all of you guys on here. You guys are my idols. You know what I'm saying? And we should look to, I look up to you guys and everything that you do. And I take it not for granted that you guys take time out to pour into me and to pour into others. And I think that this is important for other indies, and whether you be signed or you're indie, to know that you're not in this alone. Here's some encouragement for you. Don't lose your way. Don't give up hope. Just keep going, and eventually something's going to pop off. And hey, you got to look at it this way. It's got to break at some point, right? And if it don't, then maybe you should be doing something else.
Ooh, that's a whole nother topic.
Listen, man.
No pun intended. But anyway, when do you know that this is the road? This is what God has for you. I'm not wavering. I don't care if it takes a long time. I'm going to stand and wait. How do you know? That's my question to any one of you guys.
I think that question is very relative, because success is relative to, just different people. Like success for Jason may not be success for, for myself or for Titus or for Keith or for any of us.
Absolutely.
So I think that my mentor used to always tell me, if you're going to do gospel music, then you need to just do it because you just love gospel music, not because you want to, you know, the glitz or the glam, or you want the platforms, you want any of those things, just because you just love creating gospel music. And I think that once we keep the main, if we keep the main thing, then those kind of problems won't really arise, where you think that, where you have to kind of take a fine-tuned comb through your life and just kind of figure out like whether this works or not. When you're doing it for the right reasons, you don't have to let those kind of thoughts enter your brain, I think.
Stephen Hurd, I love that. Darius Paulk, that was awesome. But Stephen Hurd, that's what I was looking for. He said, because there will be fruit.
Absolutely,
That's
man.
what I was going to say.
Always gotta have some fruit on our account, man.
Stephen Hurd, you coming on next month. You coming on next month. Thank you.
Got to.
You're coming on next
Got
month.
to.
There will be fruit. There will be results. That's how you'll know. When I was ready to give up and say, this ain't it, whatever, and somebody came to me and said, yo, that song, and blessed me and encouraged me. I listen to it every day. This is when I'm sick, and my wife is sick, I put on Strong Victory and we feel better, blah, blah. There are your results. If you are pushing and encourage somebody, and you may look at that, oh, that's a little result. What do you mean? Why are you doing this? We do this to be a blessing, not to who? Not to us, but a blessing to others. Yes. If you are blessing someone with something that God has given you, you know you are in the right place. You don't need nobody to tell you in the right place. Want somebody to tell you that they are blessed. And I'm quite sure everybody here on this platform, someone has been blessed tremendously by your work.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead, bro.
Like a form of that fruit is I gotta share. You know, he trying to come to modern technology. I gotta share my mentor. Something that Harvey from the Canton Spirits used to tell me all the time that I didn't catch. He said, especially when you get to the point where you feeling how you was when you ready to give up and you feel like this ain't working. He said the Lord will always give you the right show at the right time when you need it. Now, granted, you might not be getting paid the biggest, right?
Right.
On that show. But just say if you just did 5 shows in a row where you didn't feel appreciated, you just like, man, it's just not really going out. And then of course, you always got one of them devils in your ear. Yeah, man, you know, y'all was all right, but you kind of played out, Doc. That ain't this ain't for you. And then you'll go someplace, and from the time you come in the building, they will act like you the best thing that ever happened. That's what keeps you encouraged.
I love what Keith is saying there, because that's all the way powerful and all the way true. You will see.
Say this.
Go ahead, Sam. Sorry, go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
Also, when you get to a place to where you want to do something so bad to where it doesn't matter the outcome, that's also a great reflection as to what God has called you to do. I've done a whole lot of things, a lot of records, recorded songs, engineered albums, and didn't get a dime. But I've still continued because of the love of it, and I know that whatever I put into it, I still did my very best, because that very best will take you to the next opportunity, and that opportunity will pay you what you lost on the last one.
Ooh.
My.
Yo, listen, at the end of the day, remember your why. Why are you doing this? Did you do it to get the Grammy? Did you do it to get the Stella? If it comes, terrific. But if it doesn't, are you going to fold and say, I give up? This is not what I want to do anymore, because it's not everything I hoped or I dreamed of? Once again, if you want the Stella, if you want the Grammy, you can get it. But you got to also do the work that it takes to get there too. That's a whole other step. That's a whole other process. But people don't look. I don't know it depends on what you're looking for. Because if your music is being a blessing to people and you have a following and people are looking forward to you coming out with something, then I would say keep going. But sometimes people don't want that. They want to know why they not getting this. Why I ain't in the big house, huh? Why I ain't driving the Mercedes, huh? Why I don't have. This is what they want, and if that was your reasoning to doing it, it ain't gonna come to you anyway.
Because you might not want, you might think you want that Mercedes, but you might not want everything you might not want what come with it.
$800 a month.
Maintenance. That preventive maintenance,
a
man.
month.
You might as well keep it,
I was
man.
saying, bro, I can't wait to get me a Mercedes Benz. And once I got one, I couldn't wait. I thank God for the accident that totaled it. I was ready to get rid of it.
Yeah, man.
I just didn't want to pay $100 minimum for an oil change. I ain't there yet.
Preventive maintenance, man. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Once again, it's all about perception. Looking at what others got and what you think success is. Success to me simply is me doing better than I did yesterday. If I'm doing better than I did last year, I've progressed. If I'm doing better than I was yesterday, I've progressed. And that's how you measure your success, is based upon what you did last. I can't measure my success based upon what Stan is doing, based upon what Jason is doing, because then you'd be ready to jump off a cliff, because these dudes are working with everybody. These dudes are doing records for this one and that one, and you may be like, how did Stan get in the studio with them? I want to be in the studio with them. Well, go on and do what Stan did. Go on and do what Jason did.
Unless Trevone can see it in a way that influences him to go beyond what Stan is doing. See, a lot of people, again, it's about the perception or how you see it.
Correct.
So if you get your vision corrected, you'll be just fine. Kanye West, somebody mentioned Kanye West. I love the story about the fact that they turned him down several times.
Yes, they did.
Jesus Walks as is on the radio today. They turned him down flat. So he went beyond that and played the record at a party or something like that without nobody even knowing what he was going to do. And they was like, okay, if he's willing to go this far, we got to give him a shot. You know what I'm saying? But I think, again, that's why some people become or have the characteristics that they have. Like, people see Kanye as arrogant and crazy and all this stuff. But like you said earlier, Trevone, people don't know what a Kanye went through just to get there.
No clue.
You know, so I'm sure there are several days that he had to look in the mirror and tell himself, like, I am what I believe I am. I am this person. I don't care what they say. Because if you don't tell yourself that, you can cancel your purpose and your life and your destiny for sure.
I told y'all Stan is a preacher, right? I told y'all that before. So that he just been preaching.
Fire for Jesus.
And everybody all through the live, preach, brother Stan, you talking right. Yeah, this is what he do. He sets us on fire every time he comes on. But that's true. And once again, operate in your lane, know your strengths, know what it is that you do best, and do it. And you will be successful at it, whatever that is. Some people are blessed to cook. Some people are blessed to perform. In this form, we talk about singing and music and the arts of that nature. So you should have some kind of ability to be in this, okay? Some kind of ability, whether that be songwriting, singing, dance, something. You better do something of the arts if you're gonna be in this line, and you will be successful at some point.
I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody that I love his hustle. I love his hustle, and he don't never stop, and that's Jonathan Nelson.
Facts.
Let me tell you something. The way he hustles and the way he does what he does, it's like, I mean, it's encouraging to say, even with the success of things that he's had, I felt like he should have been nominated for awards with them last couple of albums he dropped that were brilliant albums. You know what I mean? And you got to be, like you said, you got to know who you call to and be comfortable with the plan and the way that God is moving you and where he's taking you, in these moments in life, and understand that at the end of the day, he's in control of it all.
He's in control.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a whole fact.
Man, he's in control of it all. So like you can't get, you like you said, you can't get discouraged, and you can't find yourself looking over here in somebody else's field to say, "Dad, well, why ain't it happening for me like that?" God's plan is different, and the way he's gonna take you, he's gonna do that whether you like it or not. You just gotta lock into it and not wander around in the wilderness for 40 years when the promised land is close.
right before you, man.
You know what? I don't believe that nobody on this planet, no human being that God allowed to come through the portal of life and being here was meant to be unsuccessful in any way. I think the thing is, people have not yet found out who they are, what they're here for, what they're meant to be successful at. I heard an artist, I will not call their names, and they was talking about, gospel music, saying, I'm sick and tired of, and he's a very notable one. He was like, I'm sick and tired of, gospel sounding like the way it is now. I need it to be different. Like, if you want to be legendary, you got to be different. If you want to be legend, you got to be. He just kept saying that, and it hurt my feelings to hear that, because this person has influence to make somebody feel that way. But I know the truth to be that you can be legendary, not mopping the floor backwards, but if you mop the floor with a passion that it touches people enough to where they talk about you in a way after you're gone, that's legacy. That's being a legend. I don't care what you're doing. If you're doing it from the heart to where people will, that you're impacting people in a way that they talk about you after you're gone, that is legacy. So don't get it twisted. You don't have to be different. Just be great. Just be good at what you're doing and put your heart into it. Be impactful.
Impactful.
I love that. To make me grab my organs, Stan. You know I play organs, right?
Stan, you were talking once again, says Stephen Hurd, and he said also make sure you check out Destiny, Jeremiah 29:11. Wow. For those of you, those artists on here, those people that you want to know your why, your destiny, read that scripture. Once again, Power Pack Strength Talk. This is why I come on here. This is why I do this thing. Listen, I got a secret for y'all. Y'all want to know what the secret is? I wasn't doing this for nobody else. I was doing it so I could get strength.
That's what's up.
Hey, man.
That's what's up.
That's what it's about, bro.
That's what's
up. That's what it's about, man.
And I say this to say this. That's what everybody that should be your wave. You know what I'm saying? It must first speak to you before it speaks to others. Any songwriter on here knows that, right? If we write music, we want to make sure it ministers us. I'm in my house worshiping before if I can do that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna bless somebody. This is blessing me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we should be looking to do in this season. And remember your why. Don't get discouraged. You're gonna get some no's. You're gonna get turned away sometimes, but it's okay. I'd rather not get the seat than to get the seat and not be ready anyway. Do you understand?
So
TP.
Come on, T.
So because that's what I'm finding out. People want the seat, Darius. They want it. But they couldn't do what you do if you gave them the mic and taught them how to do it.
Yes. Yo, before I forget stuff, T.
It ain't for everybody, man.
Trey.
Yeah, bro.
I'm not saying everybody. A large percentage of our people, they're not successful because, one, some of them, they didn't get the opportunity, but the ones that did, when they got the opportunity, they wasn't prepared or they wasn't ready for what they thought they was.
You got a point. Being ready.
It's true, man.
And you can't think. You got to know. And
especially in this genre, because we've seen the aftermath of
little room for error
of someone who can get through who was not ready to be pouring themselves on the masses when they don't deserve that type of pain or hurt that they were not ready to deliver at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready, sometimes God will pull you back. He will drag you, throw a fishing line, a fishing rod at you and reel you back in. Like, no, it ain't time yet. It's just not time. So be okay with that and recognize that sometimes when he's pulling you back, there is a divine reason for that. Fact. Take time to self-reflect and see why. Go back in the closet and see why he pulled you back. Maybe you weren't ready. You're probably not ready. And find out why that is and fix it and get ready. Keep preparing because it will come. If you keep knocking, the door gonna open at some point. But when the door opens, Will you be not ready, or will you be ready?
Wow.
And Stan,
Wow.
you ready for a revival, boy?
I'm telling you.
Dropping it.
Because I'm like, wait a minute, am I ready, Lord Jesus? Well, I don't know which one it is. But yo, this is all facts. This is all facts because so many people fall by the wayside and they give up and they get upset and they get angry with people for them not being successful. Listen, at the end of the day, if you're not successful, you have no one to blame but you. Look in the mirror.
That's the very thing that will stop your success right there. It will cancel your life because you're so busy being bitter about somebody else and what they're doing instead of being influenced by what they are doing and saying, look, I see what can be done, so I can take what they're doing and hopefully, prayerfully go beyond what they're doing. You know?
Facts.
The Bible says many are called, but few are
chosen.
Yeah. All day.
Yeah.
That's the word, Doc.
I'm so glad to be a part of the chosen bunch with you guys because you guys are definitely called and chosen. Y'all both of them. But anyway, as we getting ready to get out of here, before we go, what is that thing that you would say? I think we said it all tonight. But for those of you that may be just tuning on, because I see some of you just logging in, what is that thing that you would say to that artist that said, I had enough of this. I'm turning my back. That's enough. They're not giving me the respect. I know I'm good. I know I'm talented, but they just not hearing me. What would you say to that artist? Any one of you can answer that.
If you can walk away from it that easy, it was never really for you. That's what I think.
Hey. Yikes.
Because if you call to it, you can't just leave it.
That's fact.
You can't. All of us at some point have said, man, I ain't doing gospel no more. I ain't doing the artist thing no more. I know, I'm just gonna, be a songwriter. I'm just gonna do what I want to do this, but there's something that just kind of continuously woos you back to, your rightful place when you're called to it. So I would say to a person that can just walk away from something that easy, it probably wasn't your call.
Come on.
There you have it. I ain't even got to say nothing. There you have it.
What else you got to say?
One, you gotta have patience. This is not a microwave thing.
I agree.
You gotta have patience, and you gotta know the difference between the microwave and the oven. You want that oven ministry. You don't want the microwave ministry. Because now, when you go to warm up some food, put the food in the microwave, and then after you finish, touch the microwave. The microwave is now cold. But when you put it in that stove to warm up, after the food is warmed up, that stove is still hot. That means it lasts longer. So know who you are. You got to know who you are and know what you're called to do. And trust me, you smart, but you might not be that smart. You want to make the Lord laugh? Tell him your
plans. That's correct.
And then he'll execute his plans.
That's a whole fact. That's a whole fact.
You know what? I don't mind the sifting. I don't mind it at all. Because you know why? It prevents imposters. Is what it does. It prevents people who don't belong in spaces. Or people being in spaces where they don't belong. It prevents,
that's a whole fact.
And we don't need that, especially in this day and time. We don't need no imposters.
We had enough. We had enough.
We need the people who have been divinely called to these places to be there. That's
yes. Stan, you glowing like the last dragon now, man.
Yeah, bro. What happened, bro?
Be here.
All right, close us out because
this about to keep going.
Yo.
Be here because you want to be here at the end of the day. Moving out of here. Give us your social media and where they can follow you, anything you got going on that we need to be informed about. Let them know what's going on, Darius Paulk.
My social media is my name, @Darius Paulk, on all the way across the board. And just, follow me.
Simple.
Talk to me, I talk back. I got a brand new single at Radio Now, On and On. So, call your radio stations, all your PDs, and request it. And
please do.
That's what I got going on. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jay.
Jay Clay
44, Jason Clayborn on all of the sites. I'm doing this situation right now with this CCM writer named Stephen McWhirter. We're dropping these choir session records every other Friday. So we just dropped a song called Glory Hallelujah. And then we dropped a song tomorrow called Oh Your Blood. And I got a song at radio. My new single at radio is God Made It Beautiful, featuring my sister, Darius Raymore.
I love that song.
So that's what's at radio right now. I got a lot of stuff happening, man. And I'm just grateful for God and the will and the plan that he has for my life, man. And that's it. Enjoy the will and the plan that he's taking you through, man. Enjoy your journey.
Facts. Titus.
I am Titus Showers on our Instagram and Twitter. Facebook, go and like my fan page. My records at radio is going to be all right, featuring Jermaine Dolly. I've been working in the midst of it all, man. Definitely, I've been working with Vaughn Phoenix, got some new stuff coming out. Been working with Lucius Hoskins, been working on my project in the midst of the pandemic. God is blessing. You guys stay tuned. Something special is on the way. I appreciate this talk, man. You guys, I'm a fan. God bless y'all, man.
Keith Wonderboy Jones.
Yes. My tag is at Instagram is at Keith Wonderboy Johnson. Facebook, same thing, at Keith Wonderboy Johnson. Twitter is at Keith Wonderboy J. I got a new single at radio right now. Is my pandemic suggestion, saying that you don't put your business on social media. You done tried the rest, not tried Jesus. So also I came out a movie just a bit. They debuted September 4th. It's called Negative Exposure. I got a new song that they taken off the soundtrack, and it's called Something Is Happening in This Place. And I'm also working. I'm also doing virtual parking lot services, garage services, all above.
Listen,
just
call
holler at
all
me.
of it. You hear
And,
me? Call all of it.
My email is keithwonderboyjohnson@gmail.com, and I'm co-producing the New Canton Spiritual CD with Stan Jones. It's dropping.
Dope.
You heard I said co.
He said 10 codes on that.
I hear you.
But I am honored just to be on the team. We've been working together. Stan is my brother, man. We got some fire coming on the Canton Spirituals new CD. And man, I'm just out here. I'm trying to keep up, man, and get adjusted to the new norm. So for those that's been in the game like me for a little while, and you get frustrated, you said you tired of people putting you in the box. Hey, be glad that you are respected enough to be in a box. So what you do, expand the box.
I love it. Stan.
Social media is Stan Jones Music on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. As far as music coming, as Keith mentioned, the co-producer record. Actually, we just signed off on the record at Malaco today. So we finally turned it in and done, and the single actually written by myself and Harvey Watkins called Hallelujah Anyhow, which features Reverend Al Green. So that was a lot of fun to work with him and produce and do a tune with him and Harvey. It was an amazing experience. I also have a couple of other records coming out right now in about a month or so. Got a song called Forever Always coming out on Brian Courtney Wilson's new album. And a song called Don't Be Afraid coming out on Marvin Sapp's new album in October as well. So very excited to be here, man. Trevone, thanks for always having me. Jason, my brother, Darius, so proud of you, man, and what you're doing. I love seeing people come from a notable songwriter to artistry, because a lot of people say that can't happen, or they like Keith was just saying, they try to box you in and say, well, ain't you a songwriter? But you're proving to a lot of people what can be done. So I'm very proud of you. Titus, always, man, you a killer, man. You know what you do, man.
Bless you, bro.
always inspired by what you do as well. Everybody on here, man. Thank y'all for having me. Thanks a lot.
Facts. Everybody on here, big ups to all of the guests tonight, from James Hall to Darius Paulk, Jason Clayborn, Keith Wonderboy Johnson, Titus Showers, and the man Stan Jones. Man, you guys are a true inspiration to us all. Thank you so much for all that you do for gospel music. I am your host, Trevone Perry of the Hands Up Radio Show. I'm coming to you live from the Zoom/Facebook edition. Once again, you can follow me on all social media platforms, Trevone Perry _ IG, Twitter, Trevone Perry. Like the fan page, Trevone Perry and Divine Purpose. And you know, we got a song that's on radio that's been bumping ever since a whole year, Strong Victory. Check it out if you haven't heard it yet. We got a new song coming out real soon, a couple of weeks, called All Right, All Right. I can't wait to do that. Can't wait to release that to you. It's something to make you move your feet, and it's just to encourage you that everything is going to be all right. And on top of that, I got another joint that I'm going to put some of my brothers on here. That's on this live here. And that song is called We All Need His Help. So I can't wait to get that to you guys and get you all in the studio. But anyway, I love you guys, man. Until next time, live in purpose, on purpose, for the purpose God has for your life. I love you, bro.
Love y'all.
Bless you, man.
All right, man.
Bless you.